So 9:13 a.m. to the present, the entity is hovering over my office with helicopter. And so it's pathetic. Dominic CHOI and the terrorist organization that is the LAPD, it's as though demons want acknowledgement and they're already defeated. They're going to federal prison, okay? And they're going to be disbanded and removed. And so as I sit in my office and I'm just listing the times that they're repeatedly amplifying, meaning while they're flying at a great distance, targeting with the sound of helicopter activity. And these demons are sitting in the parking lot. They're all going to federal prison. Precious Bastillos is going to federal prison. This group stalker over here, stalking in the path under a light source that's not the sun, while the entity was hovering over my office in helicopter. They're all sitting in the parking lot, group stalking, waiting in strategic placement, waiting to come outside to cross path a demon with a dog. Group stalking, okay? The entity hovering above my office at 9:14, amplifying the sound of helicopter activity, and it is as though they want acknowledgement. I'm just speaking to the mind state. The fact that they're stalking is already clear. The demonic light moving across, they're all going to federal prison. That's Jeanette Balderas, who has given up her career in medical profession. She's given it up. So she doesn't care. She knows that she's going to federal prison, JBSR 897, and they're engaging in that pattern of conduct. This is what the demon-possessed population do when they're clearly surrounded by evidence. You'll see the pattern. When I have very damning evidence, you'll see them engage in outright admission. Yeah, we're stalking. Yeah, we're defeated. Yeah, we're angry. That's what the demon-possessed population do. It's a public safety concern. Okay, the engineered light, the hovering above my office, the ongoing incessant amplification, that's the communication of a threat by a defeated entity. And it is as though Satan wants acknowledgement. I'm speaking spiritually now. You're talking about you're admitting that you're a stalker. Let me be clear. The entity wants to, in every regard, hide what they're doing. So you're not hidden, and what you're doing is clearly known. The entity will engage in this ongoing show. And like I said, they're not accomplishing anything. The purpose of group stalking is to cause someone else to hate themselves, hate their lives, hate their existence, etc. That's not working. And you're going to be prosecuted and removed from existence as an entire terrorist organization. So you have what is communicating a threat by virtue of openly engaging in that, which is legally analyzing its communication of a threat. But the entity does this, again, when you're recognizing the pattern. It's currently 9:18 a.m. I am not at Alvarado Gardens yesterday. The light source is over me while you're looking at what is psychotic stalking, hovering in place. All right, and this is openly engaging in what is an admission that they are, first of all, demon-possessed. This is demonic. And they're also doing so with knowledge of the fact that they're being exposed. Heather Teal is going to be prosecuted. I'm at the same property at 4:12 p.m. in this same police department with simultaneity to my audible activity, speaking to what is freedom of speech, which I maintain while I'm prosecuting her, which she represents LAPD, that's openly engaging in what is communicating a threat, while engineer light moves across an apartment building, which is demonic, while she references the people of the state who are monitoring, the state that's monitoring, knowing that I'm exposing the fact that they're demon-possessed while they're monitoring, and is using that for purposes of obstruction of justice. I'm at this same property not until 9:37 in the morning, and at 9:37 yesterday, the light source is over me at the entrance as I'm walking up, and the entity's amplifying helicopter activity, which is how I got the pacing conduct of the people of the state whose license plate I specifically documented. I didn't go anywhere today. The light source was over the DMV. It's remaining over my head while the entity openly engages in what is, again, that's a concession. This is what the population does, the demon-possessed population does, when it is defeated and exposed. That's why they're going in cages. Understand the psychotic mind state that's revealed through that course of conduct. Jeanette Balderas has literally forfeited her role in the medical field. She knows that. The demon-possessed, they engage in conduct such as that. This is the mindset. I'm going to go and engage in more crimes. I'm going to go commit more murders because the entity's mindset is that's going to somehow turn off or distract away from it. No one is confused, and the federal government is surely not confused about what I just captured on video. Okay, the entity was doing this while I was inside of my office, so I'm capturing what is pacing in front of your face. That's terrorism. She's going to federal prison, and then she's going to be deported. And walking your dog is pacing. This is a demon that's stalking in the hallway, waiting to come out, already ready in position. They're all sitting in the parking lot. When I mean at the street, waiting to drive in, that's literally what the demon-possessed are doing, and you know that because of the unnatural environment. This is the same property where the light source remains at 5 o'clock in the evening when I walk out of this office. This is the same property where I was nowhere near. I was on the freeway yesterday while Uber was driving me, and I'm showing you the light source that's over the freeway, which is not going to be over this property. And you're seeing the entity group stalking. So like I said, as the entity is observing its prosecution, while they are doing so, they engage in what is this to its own demise. This is revealing the works of Satan. This is revealing what is the government, the corrupt government that is represented by the conduct of the Los Angeles Police Department, the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department, which represent the state. It is in conformity to the state's pattern of conduct as it's already been established through what is the body of evidence identified as the P.O.C, the pattern of conduct by the state, and doing so in concert with the people of the state. This entire property is engaged in 24-hour criminal conduct that you just saw right now, because that's all they're doing. Stalking in a helicopter, hovering over the light source. You saw that that expounded discussion that I have this morning, while that light source, which is not possibly the sun, not rising over a car in front of 630 North Fern Avenue and also inside of my living room. The entity is hostile to that. The entity is demon possessed. And this is, again, the psychotic behavior of those that serve Satan. And that's just the reality. And then it is exhibited through the light activity. It's exhibited through the state that stalks, providing direct evidence, not only against Jeanette Balderas, whose impossible light activity is speaking to what is her condition and the threat that she is both to the children and to the public, and the impunity that she acts with while she maintains knowledge of the fact that her criminal conduct is known and it's being documented, and she clearly engages in that. At no point is sunlight ricocheting off your car. While they listen to the truth about that, they repeat that. That's a psychopath. Okay, that's a psychopath that's currently in custody of minor children and acting in concert as one, crossing path, pacing together, walking by me, driving down Alvarado, pacing, doing so an engineer light moves across the gate. Okay, that's P.O.C. It is currently 9:22 a.m., 9:23 a.m. You're looking at the light source that's over me, as I showed you on video while I'm in front of 630 North Fern. When you're looking at this iteration of terrorism, this is what the entity was doing with UPS. This is what the entity was doing with UPS yesterday, and I stood at the same location, and the light source was right over me, and I'm capturing that in the middle of the afternoon. I'm standing at the same location I was at while UPS was group stalking in concert with the same entity. UPS is doing the same thing that the people of the state living here at the property do, in a specific environment where I wasn't even here at this time yesterday. But on June 6, 2022, I'm standing in front of 630 North Fern Avenue, and that's how you know, besides the fact that the state is providing open evidence that it is a terrorist organization and not a legitimate law enforcement agency, and the federal government is welcome and will accordingly shut them down permanently. Okay, for engaging what is terrorism. And I want you to pay attention. They're flying right next to the sun. That's not the sun. And those are demons. Okay, those are indeed demons, and they are engaging what is openly terrorizing one. And they're pacing in the sky space, and they're pacing in the workplace. Many of those that are not natural born citizens, we're going to relieve the economy in California and deport them out of here after they go to federal prison. This is impunity. The demon possessed don't have to share the same language as you or the same race as you. They are operating over a spirit, and that same spirit is what is inspiring what is very self-destructive conduct, because no sane person would first of all engage in group stalking, but also then openly engage in what is more of that which is already established as a matter of evidence, which it never intended to ever be public knowledge in the first place. That's a psychopath. And that's a whole population. Okay, it is currently, again, 9:24 a.m. The light source is over 630 North Fern Avenue on this day in 2022, not over the apartment complex where it maintains this light source for the duration of the day. That's how you know both their criminal conduct, they're openly stalking, but they're also demon possessed. That's how you know that. And the condition of the people of the state, such as Jeanette Balderas, demonstrating it while engineer light moves across the building while she's driving an ashy gray Jeep, which is not sunlight. That's the pattern of conduct. This is openly crossing path, and that's the purpose of living on the grounds. They're engaged in 24-hour surveillance. All of the minor children at this property are going to be taken from the people of the state. The people of the state are routinely, including, let me be clear, the state is routinely engaging and sponsoring, supporting, relying on criminal conduct to the highest degree with minor children. That's what the so-called police department, that's a terrorist organization. That's literally what they're doing in third world countries. This is happening in the state of California. All right, and they're doing it in concert with minor children, and then they do more of it in the so-called land of the free in the United States, while an American citizen is in every regard prosecuting and exposing. And this is, let me be clear, don't be confused by this. This is a concession by a defeated entity. And when I use the word entity, I mean both the public entity that's engaged in public corruption and the demonic entity. This is a concession. That's the behavior pattern of the defeated entity. And while it is already in a position of defeat, it engages in more to its own demise. That is revealing, again, what am I analyzing over and over again? You're seeing the ongoing evidence of what is the mental illness by that entity that's engaged in group stalking. It's demonic activity, and it is serving to expose what the entity that is of this condition, engaging in this criminal system, wants to desperately hide, the fact that they are psychopaths. This is a public safety concern. That's literally observed while they're hovering over my office, and I'm noting it on my Samsung Notes at the PDF form. And all the entity is doing as I then walk out, flying away from the office, and then flying around, which is pacing around, and then they're hovering right over the parking lot, over the parking lot as I just showed right now. The entity is repeatedly sounding helicopter activity. And like I said, this is an entity that's already defeated by the evidence, and it knows that. And to its own demise, showing the public safety concern, they're going to be treated when the federal government handles them and when they're subject to a raid, when they're arrested, when they're taken in, when they're in federal court, they're going to be treated like the terrorists that they're showing themselves to be on June 6, 2024. No one is forgetting this evidence. This is the truth. This is the truth of the matter. And this is the reality with regard to how they're going to be handled by that federal prosecution and under federal law, which exists now and which shall be created to deal with it to the furthest extent that is necessary in this country. So I just want to make sure that you understand that all of that was a concession by a defeated entity, all of that, to its own demise. The state is stalking, already known. So the state engages in more stalking, and in fact, they just want to hover above my office. You know what? Because I'm not giving them any attention. I don't need to give you attention. I can document everything that the entity is doing. It's amplified audible activity. It's in the unnatural environment. I'm not even here yesterday at this time. If that's the sun, then it's not going to be over me while I'm at the same laundry room, by the way, at 4. This is tying you around. You're choked out with evidence. I'm at the DMV in Glendale. The light source is hovering over me. I'm on the freeway en route to this location, but yet at 8:47 at that DMV, the light source is hovering over me at 8:47, seen through the window of a laundry room. I don't go to any DMV. I stay right here at the property. The light source is already here. So at 9:37, while the light source is remaining right here, how was the sun at 9:37 at the entrance of the Alvarado Gardens over my head at the same property? That entity that knows that it is defeated engages in that show of what you just saw. That is relevant to what is terrorism. All the terrorist organizations in the state of California hiding under the names of police departments and sheriff's departments and courthouses, okay? They're going to be shut down. They're waiting to be raided. This is exactly what the federal government is learning, and that's exactly how it's going to be handled. All right. And you're looking at the reality of that. All it took was a matter of time to expose it, because this is hostility. This is animosity. This is hatred. This is, malice that is seeking to conceal itself. And all it takes is the right amount of ingredients in order for that truth to be made manifest. And it is exhibited through, first of all, the pattern of conduct. And second of all, the ongoing, once it's the P.O.C, it's conclusive that you're group stalking and that you're a bunch of demons. And that this is under no circumstances the natural environment, period. The sun that's over here is not over me through the window of the Uber vehicle while I'm on the freeway at this time yesterday, nor is it over me while I am in Ontario on this day at the same time in 2022. Nowhere near any Alvarado Gardens apartments in Los Angeles or Glendale, DMV, none of that, or any 2 freeway in Los Angeles. Okay, so that goes beyond. Now you're looking even deeper than that. This is the ability to witness what the demon-possessed population in this country, the terrorist organizations who are waiting for a time to exact war in this country against innocent American citizens. And they are currently in positions of the government. They are amongst the population. And they're engaging in that. That's a concession by a defeated entity. That's what you just saw. And it's also legally relevant because every single employee of speaker companies is fully engaged in that state system. While they're calling on the office phone and sending emails, it's relevant to state surveillance, doing it under the guise of some business name. UPS isn't engaged in legitimate business. The United States Postal Service is not engaged in legitimate business. They're monitoring in this country. They're monitoring in California. Okay. UPS, Ryder, you saw Budget engaged in surveillance parked at Silverview Townhomes. They're not engaged in legitimate business. And you've also seen that as I specifically target my documentation to what they're doing in the specific environment as they do it, even in concert with the state that, again, provides evidence against them, providing what is nothing other than a concession. That is literally what you just saw. Let me translate that for you. The demon-possessed population, the corrupt government, just engages in, so what? I'm going to keep on doing it anyway. I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because it's so pathetic. This is the posture of the defeated, okay? Engaging in what is so what, I'm still going to, and even to the extent that it's tantamount to begging for attention. Documentation is not giving any attention or credence to Satan. Documentation is serving for the ultimate defeat of Satan, not only in heaven, but here on earth. Judgment in the natural. That's what it is. It is not in any way speaking to, because an entity that's group stalking, you are in no way a formidable enemy. You have to resort to group stalking. You have to get a whole pack of demons to approach somebody that is of the light. That's speaking. You're no formidable. You're talking about demons with law enforcement agencies. They're big and bad in helicopters. There's nothing that you just saw right now that is in any way exhibiting strength or superiority. None of that. This is all fear of what I'm exposing about them. That's what you just witnessed. And when psychopaths are fearful, this is the public safety concern. When psychopaths, a population of them that are in custody of minor children, that are working in the medical field, law enforcement, the legal field, amongst children, amongst the elderly, when they are let free in society. They pose a threat to the lives of those who they are around, who they exercise influence over, and anything that they have at their disposal to act out that threat that they are, both to themselves and to society. That's what you just saw at work right now. It's 9:31 a.m. I am still not here at this property yesterday, June 5th, 2024. I arrive in the Uber and I immediately capture video, and I'm at the entrance of this property. The entrance of this property where I'm standing right now. So again, let's look at a map, big picture. I am standing at 937. This is Alvarado Street, coming from I believe this is Clifford or Brandon. It's one of the cross streets. We're driving up the street. The light source is over me, and I'm even laughing in the video. As we're driving in this direction, the sun is nowhere over Alvarado Gardens. This is already captured on video yesterday in the morning. Driving up the street and then driving down Alvarado, and I get out of the vehicle. I'm standing at the entrance of the Alvarado. You can see the Alvarado Gardens sign here at the entrance. The light source is right over me. I'm over my head at the entrance at 9:37. It's 9:32 in the morning. You're looking at the light source that never left the property. It was outside of my living room window this morning, nowhere near a Glendale DMV. While it's over this hillside, over the people of the state living on the hillside in alignment to my living room window, it is not over the Glendale DMV. It's not over anywhere in Ontario to be in perfect alignment with me outside of the passenger window of the vehicle parked in front of 630 North Fern Avenue, nor at any point is it ever going to be seen over any of the addresses where I am documenting the pattern of conduct in Ontario for the duration of the day, from the beginning to the end of the day, nor is it over the Glendale DMV like I documented yesterday en route back to this property where I didn't arrive until 9:37, and that light source remains over me for the duration of that route. And while the entity is providing this ongoing admission to the fact that they know that they're exposed, their time is up, and that psychotic population threatens the lives of American citizens while it is faced with that exposure and criminal conduct that it's sought to secretly engage in. Okay, at 9:37, the light source is here. I am on into the depths of the property. I'm right here. And you're looking at the light source that's over me. It's not seen over the entrance in that position. If this is the sun that's at the entrance, then I would be standing here looking at the sun from over there. That's not what's happening. It's right over my head, while LAPD is group stalking right over my head. And what I have stated, the documentation that already exists, is directly relevant and probative with regard to the psychotic mind state and the admitted failure of a defeated entity, a public entity and both a demonic entity. Both that's a term of art, because both are at play. This is an entity that knows that it's defeated. A sane person that knows that it's defeated. And this is no minor defeat. The federal government is going to treat them like the severe terrorists that they are. They are waiting. I'm just going to leave it at that. They are waiting to be treated like the criminals that they are. Okay. The threat to the public that they are. It's not going to be tolerated. Terrorism is not tolerated by any third world country coming onto the grounds, invading the jurisdiction here. That's exactly what they are. They're a domestic enemy, and that's exactly how they're going to be treated. This is an entity that's aware of that. The demon possessed, which is revealing the psychopath, and it's exhibited through the people of the state on the property. That's not walking a dog. That's a hostile demon, a passive aggressive group stalker who is engaging engaging in the elements of monitoring and exacting some sort of futile effort. This is how the demons, we're retaliating. We're getting you back. No, you're not. You're being documented. You're all going to federal prison. All of them. Every single last one that you just saw is going to federal prison. All of their kids are going to be taken from them. All of them. The entire Los Angeles Police Department is no longer, it's a terrorist organization. There is no room for doubt, no reasonable doubt whatsoever. That's the conduct of a mentally unstable, which is synonymous with what I'm revealing. Their condition is the one of demon possession. That's the threat to the public that the demon-possessed population, which are in the government, group stalking in this country, which is illegal. You can prosecute it under the law. And it is also relevant that their criminal conduct is demonic, which then becomes legally relevant. The methods employed and the mind state with regard to your intent to torment and target somebody, and then maliciously abusing your position that you hold in government, seeking to silence and, in other words, obstruct justice while doing so. Those multiple layers of malice, that is just unthinkable. And then when you have lost in every regard in that defeat, what does the entity do? Engage in additional acts of terrorism because you're hostile, because as a defeat, I'm sitting in my office and I'm just noting 9:30 to 9:35 additional amplification, because all it is criminal conduct. I don't even have to. You saw them flying directly over my. UPS was doing the same thing. All they're doing is coming onto the grounds doing the same thing that all the demons that live on the property are doing. So you have a population of a bunch of hollow, this is the living dead walking a dog, the living dead driving onto the property with engineer light moving all across the apartment buildings, knowing that their course of conduct has been exposed. That's what the demon possessed do. That's very sick. It's very disturbing. All right. And so their secrets are out. And so now they're not happy about that. Let me be clear. They're not happy that their secrets are out. It's not okay with them. This is hostility. How do the ever egotistical population, you're dealing with a dangerous level of ego, a dangerous level of narcissistic tendencies. This is a spirit, though, that I want to let you know. People refer to it, and you're dealing with a spirit, and it's a spirit operating over a population. All right. And you are also further identifying it because it's the same criminal system. And they engage in that with specific knowledge of the fact that their criminal conduct is underway. And like you would any other stalker, where you have sought to enforce your rights, and that stalker still continues to engage in stalking in defiance of the investigation or the judgment of the court, for example, knowing that you filed court papers. What sort of psychopath would keep stalking you when you have evidence of them hiding in your bushes? What kind of psychopath would do that? And you know, the psychopath that does do that, here it's the government, that judge is going to, that necessarily brings into being a stalker, your mindset is already brought into the controversy. But this pattern of conduct, the group stalking, the mind state, the necessarily disturbed mindset is immediately brought into question. And so that's what you're seeing on display. It's a neon blinking sign, psychopaths surrounding group stalking while they are hostile because they've been exposed. And everything that you're looking at was an act of hostility with a direct light, stalking right in the path in plain sight, just holding a leash. That dog is a prop. All right, that's a hostile demon. By the way, a psychopath hiding in the hallway, waiting to cross path in the event that I walk outside. They're all sitting in the parking lots. James Jung, they're all sitting group stalking, waiting to drive in and out. Group stalking on Alvarado, driving up and down the street. And the demon possessor are engaging in a failed attempt. It's a concession to failure. Not only because of the fact that they serve Satan is not a secret, but the fact that their whole secret stalking system is exposed. And then in addition to that, it's an act while they engage in that same criminal system, it's to their own sick appetite. And it's to their own detriment. That's the population of psychopaths that you just saw. Okay, Jeanette Balderas, she has accepted the fact that she's done with the medical profession. All right, she's coddling her children while she's group stalking, knowing that the whole itemization of her criminal conduct in concert with the state that's not coincidentally hovering over the parking lot. Oh, that's all manner of a communication of a threat. That's how you're going to analyze that. But these are demons that are hostile. They're entirely defeated. And the demon possessed are representing what is Satan. Satan's whole operation is entirely defeated. So I just want to give context to what I just documented. And at 9:39 a.m., the light source didn't go anywhere. It's right here. Okay, 9:37 in the morning, I'm walking on at the entrance. This light source is already here while you just saw that ongoing exposition of a parade of defeated minions. And helicopter flying under the fake sun that is nowhere near this property yesterday at the same time. It's over the entrance. And I walk into my apartment building and it's seen outside of my living room window, which is not capable of my being able to see it outside of the leasing office window. There's a large wall. There's so many reasons why. In addition, all of that is talking about referencing the fact that the sun is never going to stay over the property for the duration of the day. In addition to that, the light source, they're clearly shown and surrounded with the evidence that you're group stalking as the state, because the light source is already captured, meaning you are pinned down to the evidence that you provided that was documented that the sun rises and sets at the Ovid Family Community Library, because that's exactly the evidence that you gave me. And what's happening at the Ovid Family Community Library is not happening outside of my living room window or outside of my bedroom window or over the Glendale DMV or over outside of the leasing office and for the duration of the day as well. That's showing the criminal pattern of conduct. It is currently 9:40 a.m. and that was an spectacular show of how you defeat a government and how that corrupt government responds. And it's a threat to the safety of American citizens in this country. And when I'm referencing government, I'm referencing this issue of public corruption. The people of the state are in the shoes of the government. This is the state. This is the whole crime scene. This is the state. And by the way, Satan owns them. Satan owns them. And everything that Satan owns, everything that Satan is engaging in through these people, they're all going to be prosecuted in the natural. They're going to face judgment in the natural. It is currently 9:41 a.m. And this is documentation of what is terrorism, which is sponsored by third-party group stalker speaker companies. Okay, engaging in what is terrorism, fully engaged in that criminal pattern of conduct. They're also engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet, knowledgeable about every syllable that I utter, every name that I identify, their criminal conduct, which they're going to face. Let me be clear, the entity exacts to its own detriment failed acts of retaliation while they are aware of everything that I'm documenting, and every employee of speaker company is going to be prosecuted for that. Remember, the people of the state are all of the people of the state, and the entity to its own demise provides evidence against itself, while the federal government is never forgetting the fact that the stalker, the group stalker, which is the state, is mindful of everything that is being documented against. So you act with presence of mind, with specific knowledge, as you continuously engage in terrorism. And Heather Till, for example, speaker companies, Todd Speaker, is going to be prosecuted for that, for everything I just captured. All right, it is currently, again, 9:42 a.m. This is P.O.C.